So, I celebrated the new year by A, finishing my current work in progress, a sort of, uh, let's call it an occult thriller, focusing on angels and demons and magic and such. And B, by watching Robert Eggers' new movie, Nosferatu, this weekend. You know, I'm not exactly one to mince words, exactly, and I'm always happy to speak my mind about what I like and what I dislike. So I'm just going to tell you, I freaking loved Nosferatu. It is probably the scariest movie I've ever enjoyed watching. I wouldn't necessarily describe myself as a scaredy cat exactly, but I'm also not really a huge fan of very horrific, disturbing works of fiction. Um, I that said, I do like Angel Heart, Constantine, and pretty much anything with magic, mystery, and crucially, excellent acting and storytelling. Dracula is one of my favorite books, and I do have a soft spot for classic horror in general. Um, I also like the works of Tim Burton, and my dream is to live like Gomez Adams in some sort of ridiculous spooky mansion. So it is only natural, I suppose, that I adored Nosferatu. It is probably the greatest adaptation of Dracula I have ever seen, despite the fact that it's based not on Dracula itself, but on the famous ripoff of Dracula, Nosferatu, the black and white movie. Um, but the story is, almost until the very end, identical to Dracula, and that's okay, because it's awesome, and Dracula is a good story. Beware of slight spoilers for Nosferatu, and arguably for Dracula too, but I will tread carefully anyway, just because I want you to see this movie yourself, if anything I said here has interested you, or if you're just generally interested in, like, spooky goth nonsense, like me. Um, but Robert Eggers is just an incredible writer and director, and I've loved pretty much everything he's ever done, and this included the performances in of the actors are just they carry the movie in a lot of ways. Hands down, they make the movie for me. I was blown away from Nicholas Holt's ability to convey so much curiosity and dread when confronted with this alien abomination force of evil, to Lily Rose Depp's ethereal and deeply sympathetic, I think, portrayal of Ellen, the object of the vampire's affection, shall we say. Um, so she's not quite Mina Murray Harker, but that's only because the character isn't really meant to be, I don't think. She's a bit more helpless on account of her being, well, let's say more than a little bonkers. Willem Dafoe, meanwhile, plays the sort of occult detective on Franz, who, as you might have guessed, is just Van Helsing. Um, but that doesn't make him any less compelling. He's an occultist, a scientist, a genius, and a madman, ranting and raving about the supernatural and the occult. He makes an excellent foil for the vampire, the Nosferatu, Count Orlok himself. Orlok, played by Bill Skarsgård, who is absolutely everything I've wanted from a portrayal of Dracula, surpassing Gary Oldman and even Bela Lugosi, in my mind at least. He is creepy and unnatural, a living corpse and a veritable monster. I mean, his voice sounds just so deep and menacing, and apparently they didn't put it through filters or anything. That's just what Bill Skarsgård was able to do with his own voice. So that's impressive in itself. And the man disappears into the makeup, becoming a creature who genuinely gives me chills. Although I was never fully, like, horrified. I never leapt out of my seat or anything. It's not that kind of movie, I don't think. The few jump scares that are in there, I counted maybe three or four. They felt kind of cheap in comparison. Like it's such a narrative story about the characters. I'm not exactly here to be scared exactly, and I don't think you should necessarily go to see it expecting to be like wholly terrified or anything. I'm like I sort of went, of course, to gawk at the super realistic, impressive portrayal of Count Dracula himself, and I also sort of gawked at the use of ancient magic and old secrets to combat this evil. And yes, I went to be enthralled by the stories of the characters. It is truly a gothic, a tribute to the original Nosferatu and all works in its honor. Um, Nosferatu, this new and brilliant movie, despite just a few bits and pieces of misused horror, shall we say, it's easily one of my favorite movies of all time, I think, and perhaps the best movie of 2024. Um, there's like one scene maybe that I found not quite to my liking. It's one where Lily Rose Depp's character has a sort of breakdown, and I think it just sort of happens at the wrong time. The pacing is just a little off, I think. Um, it was also maybe a little bit extreme, uh, but I digress. That and the relatively cheap jump scares are like my only complaints, and those are so minor. It is otherwise an incredible, dare I say, flawless movie for what it was trying to achieve, and well beyond good, beyond great, I'd say. And everyone from the cast to the set design to the makeup artists, they deserve to be celebrated. And Robert Eggers, and this is something I've known for a long time, the man deserves to be made like king of Hollywood. I mean, seriously. Um, so yeah, like and subscribe if you want to hear me talk about more stuff like this. I'm Connor Freeman, and I'll see you later. Bye.